In the world of electric mountain bikes, the demand for bikes has grown enough that the market is starting to splinter into niches. We have minimal e-bikes like the specialized Levo SL, which are lighter with less range and less boost. There are trail e-bikes like the Trance E, which enable long days of exploring or for less strong riders to join their super fit partners or friends on rides. Lastly is what I call the chairlift in your pocket bikes. These are gravity-oriented bikes with long travel, aggressive DH-oriented geometry, and piles of boost and battery power for multiple laps with big vertical. I would also call these self-shuttle bikes. No matter what it is, the new Rain E+ is an excellent example of the self-shuttle rig. In this video I'm going to show the details, discuss the components, look at geometry, and finally to talk about who should consider this bike. So if you want to take a deep dive into the details of the giant Rain E+0, this video is for you. Hold on. First off, I want to touch on some numbers. Pricing. The Rain E+0 is $92.99 in Canada. It appears this bike isn't offered in the States, which is a shame and makes no sense to me. Other trim levels, the Rain E+1 is $81.99 in Canada, once again a bike not offered in the States. The Rain E+2, $68.99 in Canada, $6,100 in the States. And the Rain E+3, which isn't available in Canada, but is $5,500 US. Frame geometry. All models and sizes are mixed wheel size, or mullet, with 27.5-inch rear and 29-inch front wheels. All have 160mm of rear travel, with 170mm travel forks. Rear suspension is controlled by Giant's Maestro suspension, a linkage design well known for pedaling efficiency, small bump sensitivity, and bottomless feel. The 27.5-inch rear wheel allowed Giant to reduce chainstays to 454mm long, a big improvement from the previous Rain. Head angle, seat angle, reach, and wheelbase are all in the range that is totally suitable for this type of bike. The steep seat angle will help center a rider's weight on climbs, and the slack head angle will help center a rider's weight on descents. Details. The drivetrain is a SRAM Exo Eagle 12-speed with SRAM NX cassette, with an 11 to 50 tooth range. The cassette is smartly down-spec'd to NX level, which is heavier but more suited to the extra wear of an e-bike. The brakes are SRAM Code RSC, the top-of-the-line version of the ever-popular Code brakes. These feature some oil-slick bolts, which is a snazzy touch. To keep up with the added demands of slowing a fast, heavy bike, the Rain has two 20mm front and 200mm rear rotors. Cranks are carbon Praxis with a cool detail that they use an actual SRAM Eagle chainring. Cranks are smartly spec'd at 5mm shorter than what would be seen on traditional bikes, a smart trend that allows the rider to pedal through technical terrain with a reduced chance of pedal strikes. An MRP chain guide is a smart spec to secure the chain on a bike ready to get rowdy. Giant does a very nice job of protecting the chain stays and bottom of the seat stay with rubber molded protection. Tires are Maxxis High Roller 2, 27.5 by 2.5 rear with a double down casing, and an Exo Plus casing front, Minion DHF 29 by 2.6. These are appropriate tread and casing combinations for this kind of bike. Giant provides valves and sealant to set up the tires tubeless. Bars, stem, grips, saddle, and dropper post are all Giant branded parts, each being good enough quality that you don't have to consider upgrades. On to the standouts. The fork, shock, and wheels. It doesn't get any better than the Fox Factory X2 rear shock. These shocks perform well with attributes that suit this kind of bike. If you're picky about the function and feel of your suspension, the Factory X2 offers all the adjustability one could ask for. While discussing the rear shock, the frame's flip chip should be mentioned. The flip chip allows you to adjust head and seat angles, as well as bottom bracket height. The 170mm travel Fox Factory 38 fork features a Grip 2 damper and looks beautiful. It offers both high and low speed adjustment of compression and rebound. A nice touch is the new integrated fender. The Giant carbon rims are a hookless design with 30mm internal width. Lastly, I guess mentioning that this has an aluminum frame is important. Giant is well known for the quality of their aluminum frames, both for strength and weight. it also contributes to this bike's incredible value. Even if this wasn't an e-bike, seeing Fox Factory suspension, SRAM XO Eagle, and carbon rims on a bike under 10k in Canada is noteworthy, so to be getting a motor and battery at that price is pretty astounding. E-bike stuff. A reminder, these, like virtually all e-bikes from traditional bike companies, is a speed-governed pedal assist bike. There is no throttle. As authorities learn more about e-bikes, we will see a time when only pedal assist bikes with governed speeds will be permitted on public paths and trails. That is my prediction. Additionally, for actual mountain biking, what makes it possible to ride in technical terrain is the smooth, reliable, and predictable way that the power assistance kicks in. This is where getting a bike with one of the reputable motors is important. Giant's Yamaha system, Specialized, Bosch, and Shimano are the brands that offer adequate sophistication for mountain biking. There are three important factors on e-bikes. The motor, basically how powerful it is or how much assistance you get. This new version offers 85 Newton meters, so we're in the same sort of league as the new Shimano EP8 motor there. The battery, basically how much range your bike has. The Rain E+0 has a 750 watt-hour battery, massive support for big days out or big vertical. The Rain Zero is the only Rain with the huge battery. The rest of the lineup gets a 625 watt-hour battery. Lastly, the algorithm. And speaking of the algorithm, please like and subscribe. Anyways, when referring to an e-bike's algorithm, that refers to all the data that your e-bike's brain takes in to figure out the power output. A bad algorithm or minimal input means herky-jerky power when you don't expect it. Giant uses a 6-sensor system that results in one of the nicest rider experiences out there. So the data it's taking in is acceleration, cadence, motor speed, bike speed, input power, and the slope of the trail, and it uses that to figure out how you're going to get your power. Speaking of power, that is your charge port, and it's going to take about 140 minutes to get a discharged battery to 80% full. It'll take about 4 hours to get fully charged. The battery is removed with 3 easy steps. Remove the cover, loosen the torque key, then depress a little button at the front of the battery. It is easy and quick. An improvement over previous versions is that the torque key secures the battery firmly as opposed to just locking it in place like the previous keyed system. It does a great job of virtually eliminating battery movement noise in the frame. Motor controls have been greatly simplified with the new top tube on switch, battery indicator, and assistance level readout. Besides the left grip is the power controller, basically 2 small buttons to increase or decrease the assistance level. The cool feature, exclusive to Giant, is the Smart Assist. In this setting, the bike will vary the assistance level based on what the sensors are picking up. It can help stretch the battery life while letting the rider concentrate on riding, rather than about changing assistance levels. If you'd like to see speed and data on a screen, Giant offers a Bluetooth wireless computer as an aftermarket accessory. Summary. You've seen the details and the numbers. Now to wrap this up to help you make sense of this bike. Who is this bike for? Well, to start with, you have about $9,000 in your pocket, I hope, if this is interesting you. You probably also recognize that in this case, it is $9,000 spent really well. Similar spec and performance from some other brands may cost $2,000 to $4,000 more. You're getting top-notch components and electric system that compare to some fancy bikes out there with Shimano EP8 electric systems. I gave it away at the beginning when I talked about this being a self-shuttle bike. If your ideal ride day would have a long climb on double track or forestry road, then a steep descent with a pretty rocky, rooty trail and some features like drops or gaps, then doing it again, and then doing it again, this would be a great option. You are basically able to give yourself the equivalent of a day at the bike park or a shuttle day. This would be a good bike if you still ride an analog bike on the in-between days, because the geometry isn't far from some of those traditional enduro bikes. I have to say this because bikes like the Giant Trance E with its really long chainstays would actually be a tough bike to transition back and forth with a regular bike. Who isn't this bike for? If If the trails you ride involve more technical, slower speed stuff and you aren't going to put in big days, you're going to suffer on this bike. The bike is designed to perform well on steep, gnarly, fast terrain. If your trails are smooth, this is overkill. If the trails are more flow trail, this is overkill. This isn't ideal for new riders. To get the most of this bike means riding fast and having solid riding technique. Bikes with really slack head angles and novice riders just don't mix well. There will be complaints in that case of front wheel washouts and people just struggling to manage the bike properly. A warning. Do your friends ride e-bikes? Are you a social rider? One thing we're definitely seeing is that e-bike people ride with e-bike people, so just be prepared for some changes in your social dynamic. Beyond that, look forward to less mileage in your shuttle truck, improved descending skills, a serious upper body workout from the big descents, and hopefully more stoke for riding bikes. I'm Graham. This has been another Bike Bros Bike Review. Our shop is in Cochrane, Alberta, Canada, and I hope we see you in the store one day. Happy trails.